I mean, they not all of them throw different. To be honest, they all really throw the same, except for Joe.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. We are 2 short days away from kickoff. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you're fired up. I hope you are ready to get the grill going, crack open a cold beverage, and sit down and finally get a chance to watch some football inside of Neyland Stadium on Thursday night. You know, the hot topic, the big news coming out yesterday should have been no surprise, but it was the hot topic going all around Vol Nation, and that is Josh Heupel naming a starting quarterback. But he also quietly released the depth chart. So we're going to go through that. We're going to take a look at who's in the two deep and if there are any surprises there. But as always, before we kind of jump into that, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that thumbs up just below the video. If you will so kindly just press that little thumb, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you are new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We are just three guys that absolutely love Tennessee athletics. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not trying to pretend to be something we are not. We are fans just like you. So welcome. If you like what we do, if you enjoy the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop new content tonight, Tuesday night, every single Tuesday night right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. We go live at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Going to look ahead to the Bowling Green game, kind of break down things, make some predictions, all that fun stuff. And then also we will be live on Saturday before the game at around 7 o'clock and then immediately following the game for Talkin VAWLS Live. So get in where you fit in and join us for a good time. But let's jump into this depth chart. Let's talk about it. I figured the easiest way to do it was just to go to this article at RockyTopInsider.com, written by Ryan Shumpert. Tennessee releases week 1 depth chart. And one of you guys, you left a comment on a video yesterday kind of asking if there were any surprises. So I figured I would just kind of go through this depth chart, excuse me, and talk about some things that did kind of surprise me. The article says Tennessee is just 3 days, now 2 days, away from kicking off the Josh Heupel era against Bowling Green. Heupel named his week 1 starting quarterback Monday and released his full depth chart. Let's start there. We are about to kick off the Josh Heupel era. Where is your meter at? Are you excited? Are you in kind of wait and see mode? Every time we go through a coaching change, there seems to be this excitement level. Everybody is excited to see what this new coach is going to do. Some people, on the other hand, battered Vol syndrome. We've been there. We've done that. You got to prove it to me, and there's nothing wrong with that. Drop into the comments. Let me know, where is your meter at? Are you excited? Are you starting to drink the orange Kool-Aid? Article goes on to say the VAWLS depth chart was detailed, whereas in the past depth charts were riddled with oars as Jeremy Pruitt tried to keep opponents off balance. Heupel's first depth chart included just 5 oars in the starting lineup. There are plenty of oars for Tennessee backups. One of the undecided backups is at the quarterback position, where Josh Heupel wasn't ready to name Joe Milton's backup just yet. You know, that also comes as no surprise. It's no surprise to me that Joe Milton was named the starter. And then it's also no surprise to me that you've got Harrison Bailey and Hendon Hooker as co-backups. Why is that? Why is that? Well, you want to continue to create some type of competition. You know, look what happened to Brian Maurer. His reps get limited. He hits the transfer portal. This football team is going to need Harrison Bailey. They are going to need Hendon Hooker to continue to compete, to continue to push each other, to continue to push Joe Milton. So it's no surprise that they would be co-backups. Everything that we've seen and heard is that Hendon Hooker is technically the backup. But hopefully we don't have to see that, because if we have to see the backup, then that means Tennessee has lost games they probably should not have lost. That means that Joe Milton is injured, or Joe Milton is not what Coach Heupel thought he was. Let's go on to continue to look through this depth chart here. It says at running back, Tyon Evans and Jabari Small are listed as potential starters. Tennessee coaches have raved about the duo this August, and at the running back spot, expect both to get a large bulk of carries and snaps. This is a quote from running back coach Jerry Mack. It says both of those guys, they can go in the game right now as 1A and 1B and participate. So they both have very similar skill sets. Jabari is obviously a little bit smaller, a little bit shiftier, has got some experience playing the receiver position, so he can do a lot of different things as far as his repertoire. At the same time, you got Tyon, who has just as much power, like I said before, running between the tackles. Those guys have been really good 1-2 punch throughout fall camp. And then speedy freshman Jalen Wright was listed as the group's third running back. And this is when I got the comment asking if anything really surprised me on the depth chart. This did kind of surprise me. It kind of surprised me that Tyon Evans and Jabari Small were listed as an or, as a co-starter, because all we've heard all spring, all fall, just how good Jabari Small is, does things the right way. And I get it, they are going to be a 1-2 punch, but I thought he would get the nod as the starting running back. On the flip side of that, Tyon Evans limited during the spring. Being named co-starter with Jabari Small tells you just how far he has come during the fall camp. They talked, I think it was Jerry Mack talked about in an interview saying Tyon Evans has learned what it takes to be a Division I football player at the University of Tennessee. I felt good about this running back room all camp. Now I'm just more excited about it. And we're going to talk tonight a little bit about what player are we all going to be talking about on Friday morning? What player is going to have the buzz around him outside of Joe Milton? I think Joe Milton is probably going to be the talking point coming out of this game, the quarterback position. But Jalen Wright's a guy that even though he's listed as the third running back, I think coming out of the game Thursday night, Friday morning, when we're talking about what we saw, I think a lot of people are going to be talking about the potential of Jalen Wright. Let's go on and look at the wide receiver position. Says Tennessee named starters at 2 of the 3 wide receiver spots. Competition still brewing at that third spot. Sophomore Jalen Hyatt will start in the slot with Walker Merrill and Jimmy Callaway listed as backups. After a strong fall camp, redshirt junior Cedric Tillman earns a starting spot. He has just 8 career catches, but brings a physical component to the Tennessee wide receiver room. Then he goes on to say third wide receiver spot is still an ongoing competition between VAWLS Jones Jr. and Mississippi State transfer Javonte Payton. No matter who starts, both will play a big role Thursday and this season. I think that's the thing. I don't think you really have to put a lot into the depth chart when it comes to wide receiver, because this fast-paced, up-tempo offense, they're going to play and rotate a ton of guys. And VAWLS Jones Jr. is the leader of that wide receiver room. So I have a hard time believing that he's not your starter. But again, doesn't really matter. Don't really look too much into it when it comes to the wide receiver position. I think that's your top 4 guys: Tillman, Jones Jr., Javonte Payton, Jalen Hyatt. They may come out with 4 wide receiver set to start the game, so it really doesn't matter who starts there. The one name, I shouldn't say really surprises me, but Cedric Tillman. Tillman's a guy that has gone all through spring camp, fall camp, kind of quietly, kind of on the back burner, not a whole lot of buzz. Guy with experience, guy with size, guy that can be physical. But the last couple of weeks of fall camp, it seems like he's really been coming on, getting a lot of buzz when we see the highlights put out from the scrimmages. You see Tillman as a guy that's making plays. So again, just like the running back room, I'm excited about the wide receiver room. Good quarterback play from Joe Milton. This team could have a lot of success. But Joe Milton's got to go out and prove himself. Just because he earned the starting spot means absolutely nothing. Got to go out and earn it each and every day. Talks about the tight end position. Princeton Fant, Jacob Warren, both listed as possible starters. No surprise there. The concern at tight end is depth. If one of those guys goes down, that tight end position, you're going to be hurting, looking for depth there. Offensive line, again, no surprise. Darnell Wright, Jerome Carbon, Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins, and Cade Mays. No big surprise there. Get into the defensive side of the ball, looking at the defensive line. Jaquan Blakely, Matthew Butler, Elijah Simmons announced as starters, and then you've got Tyler Barron, Byron Young listed as co-starters. And look, the defensive line, similar to that wide receiver room. They're going to rotate a bunch of guys. Probably the name that sticks out is Elijah Simmons, because he's a guy that was put on blast by Coach Garner back in the spring. This is a quote from Matthew Butler talking about Simmons. Said he had a great fall camp. Obviously, he's one of the biggest dudes I've ever met in my life. Strong, powerful, and he's really translating that into the game. I can see it in the weight room. I lift with him every day trying to match his numbers, and it's definitely translated to the field of play. Again, it's a guy that Rodney Garner, I think I said in the spring, but it says here earlier this month, really put him on blast. Really put Elijah Simmons on blast. And maybe that was a tactic to motivate Elijah Simmons. It goes on to say Tyler Barron, Byron Young listed as co-starters. But again, you are going to rotate all these guys. And you're going to see some situations, third down and long passing situations. you're going to have two legitimate defensive linemen out there, and then you're going to have Tyler Barron and Byron Young coming off the edge. Second team players across the D-line, Caleb Tremblay, Latrell Bumpus, DeJoun Terry, and Roman Harrison. And again, I've said it for months now, talking about what Josh Heupel did in the transfer portal. And this is just why it's so important. Because, yeah, it may not be that you're seeing these guys at the starting positions, but you're seeing them in the two deep. You're seeing them add depth. Based on what we had before the transfer portal, looking at second team as Caleb Tremblay, Latrell Bumpus, DeJoun Terry, Roman Harrison, that's way more depth. So, yes, Tennessee lost some players. Josh Heupel did a good job replacing them and adding depth. Linebackers, same situation as the defensive line. Juwan Mitchell, Jeremy Banks listed as your starters. Salon Page and Aaron Beasley, a guy that most people thought was going to be kicked off of this football team. But you got to let things play out. Aaron Beasley reinstated, and now you've got a little bit more depth at the linebacker position. Secondary, Lante Taylor, Warren Burrell listed as your starters. Again, I was excited to see how that battle played out. Where's Kenneth George fit into this? You got Theo Jackson at the star, Trayvon Flowers, Jalen McCullough, no surprise there, starting at safety. Brandon Turnage in the two deep. Kamal Hadden was not listed. Again, we've touched on that. We've talked about that. Kamal Hadden probably play a factor on special teams. And then the other thing, looks like you've got kicker Chase McGrath, redshirt junior Toby Wilson, still going back and forth for that starting spot. I think they listed the returners here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, Tylen Evans and Velus Jones Jr. will return kicks, while Theo Jackson will return punts. But again, that's the two deep guys. Couple of surprises there. We'll kind of get more in depth. I want to get the feedback from the Indy Kid and Dauber tonight on Talkin' Balls Live. So I hope you'll join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Talkin' Balls Network. Drop into the comment section. Let me know what surprised you. Anything really stand out on this depth chart, or is it right where you expected it to be? But that is going to wrap it up for this video. Make sure you do smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Also, pick up the official merchandise of the Talkin' Balls Network. Just go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Balls. Any and all support is greatly appreciated. But this is the Talkin' Balls Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like we poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we draw home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.